Hey, everyone. This is the After Party After Show. I'm starting a little bit early today. So, you know the rule, everyone. If no one shows up for the After Party After Show, then I cut out after 10 minutes of me boring you with a monologue, basically, and me interacting with the chat. So, there we go. John Hudson. What do I think I would get traction if I called it the After Show Dog Show? Maybe, John Hudson. I have been throwing the word atheist in the After Party After Show, so that might be attracting some of the Christian trolls. I don't know. You say that I start a new job next week, being a kindergarten teacher for one student. My daughter and son-in-law feel that they could not feel like responsible parents for sending their son to school here in Texas. That's smart, John Hudson. It's a difficult situation for people. Hey, Crypto Maria, how you doing? I'm glad that you're here. It is difficult for parents in Florida and Texas and other states to know what to do, to tell you the truth. Even in places like, blue states, right? The governor, it's a Republican governor, Governor Charlie Baker. He refuses, the last time I heard, Governor Baker refused to issue a statewide mask mandate for schools. And I find that disturbing. My kid is old enough to have gotten the vaccine. She's 16. My one kid who is in school, has the vaccine. But I don't know. There's a lot of kids out there that have idiot parents and won't get them vaccinated. And you saw the show yesterday when we covered long COVID for kids, for students, and it's serious. The thing is, with kids who get COVID, they can be misdiagnosed or ignored, and I don't know what happens. I mean, I don't know how parents of like sixth graders or fifth graders can send their kids in school without them being vaccinated, without knowing that everyone has been vaccinated. All the adults, at least, have been vaccinated. How crazy is that? How crazy is that we can't even mandate teachers to get vaccinated, right? You would think that you would be able to get healthcare professionals vaccinated, mandate for them to get vaccinated, and you would think that frontline workers to get vaccinated, you would think that teachers would be mandated to get vaccinated. At least the military, everyone's going to have to get vaccinated. I don't know if you saw that story the other day, but it's a definite thing now. So everyone in the military is going to have to get vaccinated. So that's a step in the right direction. Unlike most educators in Texas, I will cease day drinking. Well, you gotta make sacrifices, John Hudson. You gotta make sacrifices. I had to wait for my paycheck to get my membership back up. Hey, yeah. Believe me, Crypto Maria, there are, yeah. You can only do what you can do. I fully understand. Both of my kids are fully vaccinated. I have a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old D. It does make me feel good that they're vaccinated. But we all know that, with Delta variant, with being around chuckleheads who don't wear masks, that aren't vaccinated, you can still get a breakthrough infection, even though it's not as deadly, of course. Simply Secular Dave saving me from having to do a monologue.
Hey.
I was ready to monologue for the full 10, Dave.
Keep going. You're killing it.
Right. No, well, I wouldn't say I'm killing it. Yeah, I'm killing something right there.
Coffee cheers.
Coffee cheers, brother.
Nice show today. Hey, did you hear about Marjorie Taylor Greene getting kicked off Twitter?
Dude, there's so much good news out there. I found it difficult. I found it difficult to keep up with everything. Yeah, she is banned for a week, just like Jack Moody was just banned from the channel.
Yeah.
But yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, Jack's banning is permanent. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's only banned off of Twitter for a week. And it was because she was talking smack about mask mandates, I believe, in the vaccine, right?
It was efficacy. It was the vaccine efficacy. Yeah. saying that it doesn't work and all that nonsense.
Right. Of course.
I don't know if you saw my comment, but I think a great article that you could put out that would get a lot of traction, and it would be, this might be true, is if hospitals started prioritizing vaccinated people over unvaccinated people for ventilators.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and I think, it'll it might do society some good if some people actually think that's true.
Well, Dave, I tell lies on my blog to reveal some truths.
Yes.
So yeah, dude. Yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend about the Rand Paul post that's doing very well right now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, there's actually legitimate people talking about it, about him getting, Senator Rand Paul losing his medical license. And it's like, all right, well, I'm happy to help push that conversation along a little bit, to push that out in the zeitgeist.
I mean, the question for the United States over the past 6 months isn't how did this happen? It's how did it take so long to happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm an outsider. I'm watching from up here. I'm like, I can see it. Why can't they see it?
Well, and I just want to say that there's just so much to see, so much to in terms of news and content, and it's just, I think I could probably stream for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there wouldn't be lack of material to talk about. It's just really what's the most salient thing, what people want to hear about. I was just reading about the IRS of all places, right? The IRS in the last 11 years has lost 20% of its operational budget in real world dollars, right? So it's 20%. Their budget has grown smaller, 20% over the last 11 years. And of course, when you do that, you can't collect as many, you can't enforce. You can't enforce the tax laws.
Yeah, we have that problem in Canada because obviously the CRA that handles all of that is a very, very small element compared to the number of people who are paying taxes. So we have that here. Yeah.
So part of Biden's infrastructure bill, I believe, if I recall the article correctly, has $20 billion for the IRS, and the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, says that if you put $20 billion in, you're getting $60 billion back. So that's a net. That's a win. That's a win for the country. Hey, Tobin Templeman, what's up, man?
Hey.
Oh, howdy.
You seem happy this morning, brother.
It is a normal day up here. Well, no, it's not a normal day. I'm actually getting ready to go travel.
Oh, right. You're going into, you got your diving suit ready from like 1923. You got your diving suit.
Yeah, and ready to see. Yeah. The craziness that is Florida. Oh my goodness.
Did you guys hear that Canada actually opened its borders to the United States this week?
Who runs your effing country, Dave? That's obvious that you shouldn't be doing that.
I know. But it's only to double vaccinated people who have proof of their vaccinations.
All right, well, that's good.
But still, it's not good.
No.
I think they should do tours because Canadians could always go to the United States.
Right.
So we should do like a COVID tour and go down to Florida and had everybody get out in those like full hazmat suits like they had in Back to the Future.
Right.
When they were moving the plutonium, was it? Or anyway. Well, yeah, one of those suits, and then have somebody go, okay, we're walking, and this is where the unvaccinated meet for waffles.
Right. I would think that if, and this is even before the pandemic, I said this, if you could take people who weren't aware of what other countries work, how other countries work, and if you just bring them there just for like a short vacation and just have them tour like the healthcare system or just, lack of gun violence and educated population that don't live in fear every day of facing medical bankruptcy, I think it would move the needle a bit.
You think people walking through the hospital hallways going, do all the doctors smoke in the hallways?
Oh man.
Sorry,
So,
we beat up on Florida a little there.
and the thing is, Tobin,
I don't know anything different. I really don't. I just get told these things like y'all are talking about, like having health care. Like, I mean, of course we do have, emergency care places that you can go and get taken care of if you got an emergency and stuff.
Yeah, indeed. Right.
Like
There
that.
are a lot of places who have to serve you one way or the
And
other.
get it in the doctor's visit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, dude, where are you going in Florida?
I'm going to Jacksonville.
Oh, Jacksonville. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're doing the big drive back?
Yeah, if it works out, if I want the vehicle and it can make it there, then I'm gonna drive it back. I sure will.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
But I'm not really sure what I'm stepping into. My brother has said that he has wrecked it, but I don't know how much. I don't know how it. He doesn't have. He's not very mechanically inclined as much, and I don't know how much he's exaggerated. I don't know, or if he's even really exaggerating, or just like he just doesn't really know himself. He's like, oh, it's
sounds like a journey to the unknown, Tobin Templeman. That's what it sounds like.
Really.
Uh-oh.
I have to get
your video is choppy. Choppy?
Man,
and your lips move, but there's no volume, there's no audio.
I think it's because someone's sneaking up behind you.
Oh, you can see the shadows. Yeah, definitely, Dave.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, no volume. The audio seems really good right now.
Speak to us. Tell us what kind of car this is, and maybe we can catch up with you.
It's a Ford Explorer. It's an early 2000s.
I drive an Escape, an early 2000 Escape.
How many miles do you have, Dave?
Well, we drive in kilometers, right? So
kilometers.
I mean, I could convert it for you, but mine it's approaching end of life.
So you're talking in the hundreds of thousands of kilometers.
Let's work it out here.
I mean, I'm not used to looking at my own face.
Only 140,000 miles.
Oh, that's nothing, dude. You got lots.
Oh no, those engines they're 235 is what they're averaged to end of life for those V6s. It's already got a leaky seal in it, and it's one of those cars that I could spend some time working on and putting money into, but I'd be putting $4,000 into a $1,200 car, right? The stereo in the car is worth more than the car.
Right. Yeah. For me, I could get the body of my car fixed.
Yeah.
That would take. Oh, Tobin, it looks like your mouth was saying something, but the words didn't come out.
No, actually, I started to move my hand, and I was realizing it's all choppy today. I am choppy today. You know what? I think I'm gonna bounce out early. I do have some things I should be taking care of, and also I'm all choppy today. I don't know, but hey, next time I'll be hanging out with y'all in the same time zone, I think.
Awesome.
Oh, weird.
But hey, y'all have a great day, and I'll catch up with y'all later.
Say hello to your support staff for us.
Yes. Yeah, so my problem is that my car is probably worth not a whole lot of money, and the engine is fine. The engine is fine, but the rust on the vehicle itself is now becoming problematical. Is there a little bit of tape on it, Dave? I'm glad that you
Oh, you didn't. You put 200-mile-an-hour tape on your car.
a little bit of duct tape. It's only this big. It's only this covers this area. But yeah. John Hudson says your truck is 44 years old and only 76,000 original miles. That's good, John. That's good.
Yeah, because if you live out in the sticks, you got to have a going to town rig, right? That's the one you put the miles on. That's the old beater. When it breaks on the side of the road, you just phone a friend and leave the car there. You leave a good truck at home.
To tell you more about how cheap I am and how little money I'm going to be putting into this car, I don't think I've ever shared this before. Both of my keys, I have two keys, the first key and the backup key, right? Both broke in
Continue. Oh no, did you freeze? No.
No. I'm just waiting. So half of one key is in the ignition and half the other key is in, the lock getting into the car. Good news is that I can still use half of both keys to start the car up. And
can you use the same key for the ignition and the door, or
I actually don't lock
the broken half? The broken half, does it work in either one now?
Well, the thing is, yes, the because of course, once again, the other half of the keys are stuck.
Yeah.
So I can complete the circuit and they will work. Now, I don't trust my car lock in the door to really. I know, right? Black female atheist, right? That's how. Yeah, believe me. Let me continue. So I don't trust the car lock to work properly. I don't know why, Dave. I don't know why, chat. So I don't leave my car locked anymore. I am in the attitude that if the world takes the car, my 2007 Corolla, rusting out around me with 263,000 miles on it, if that's what happens, that's what happens.
And wait, is it a 2-door or a 4-door?
No, it's a 4-door.
Oh, okay. You're safe.
Right. Yeah, so the car's always unlocked. And once again, as my girlfriend has pointed out, no one's going to want your car, Andy. No one's going to want your car. We have a driveway here, and so I just leave it in the driveway.
If you have a 4-door Corolla that's a stick, that's a 5-speed or 4-speed, I guess, from that year, that's pretty much an anti-theft device, right? Who's going to drive it away?
No one's going to drive it, dude. No one.
But the thing about Corollas is they'll run for 400, 500,000 kilometers, dude, 250, 300,000 miles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't get rid of it until you're done using it.
Well, that's the thing, dude, is that, and you're right, black female atheist, it just shows you how thrifty I am. That's the word we're going to use for it. To tell you the truth, though, whenever my girlfriend and I go someplace, like when we went to see my family for their family reunion, when we go up to Vermont, we always use her car. Though I did use my car to see my mom when I went up there alone, and it worked fine. 5-hour drive there, 5-hour drive back, worked like a charm.
But it's not the type of car you would abuse by doing like 80 miles an hour down the highway the whole way, or driving in terrible weather. I mean, you probably have good tires on it as well.
Yes, I have good tires. Yeah, I'm willing to invest it.
Bulletproof, yeah.
For decent tires, right? Because I don't want to die.
If you want to see how bulletproof a Toyota really is, there is an episode of not the Grand Tour, the show that they had before that, Top Gear. There's an episode of Top Gear where they tried to kill a Toyota truck, and they ended up having to make a special out of just trying to kill this truck.
Nice. So what did they do to it?
They flooded it out in the ocean. They tumbled it down a hill. They lit it on fire. They did all kinds of stuff to it. They ended up not being able to kill it, so they put it in the Top Gear Museum. It's actually like on a ramp on the wall, still there. It's just an amazing feat of vehicle resiliency.
Right. Right. Well, that's I mean, I was hoping that this would be my last car. I was hoping, but the reality of life is, sinking in, and I'm probably gonna have to buy one more Corolla.
I see your life heading in the direction of Brian from Family Guy, the dog. Being a writer, being a comedian, driving an electric vehicle. You fit that shoe.
Yeah. I have to tell you, if I have good days on the blog, like I've had, like I'm having today, yeah, I could definitely just do that lifestyle. That's not even an issue. Yeah.
How would the girlfriend feel about you having an electric car? Would she be on board?
She would be all for it.
Yeah.
The problem with the electric car issue is that when we got this place, like I said at the beginning of the pandemic, there wasn't a proper outlet to plug in. So she has a hybrid. She was interested in going all electric, but there's a range issue, of course.
Well, there is and there isn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think what's the average range on a battery? Like 220 miles, 225 miles?
Depends vehicle to vehicle and who's in it, how much weight you're at, where you're traveling, what type of roads you're traveling on, what the weather's like. I mean, it varies, right? But obviously, the ability to stop at a gas station, stick liquid in the tank, and keep going is a benefit. But if you're going to, I have friends who have taken long trips from here down to California, and they just plan to stop for lunch at a mall that has a free charging station.
Right.
They do a little shopping on their way down. They stop at a place and go get groceries for half an hour and use a fast charger. Even if it was a Visa one that charges you like $3 to charge your car in 20 minutes, like it's still so efficient.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a minor inconvenience. A friend of mine, when he first had his car, he had a charger set up at home, and he's an electrician. So it cost him nothing to set up a 240 volt in his garage.
Right.
Which is not the same for everybody else. But he set up the charging port in his garage, and he told me with all the free charging he gets at work, at the mall, at the church, at everywhere he goes, he parks in the charging station. And he said with all the electricity, it cost him $40 to use his car for the year.
That's sweet.
Tires cost him more than fuel.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that electric cars don't have as many moving parts as a regular vehicle, right? And that they don't break down in the same way that a typical car does.
Yeah, they don't have critical moving parts, they call it. But there's a lot of things, right from like a position sensor, an air temp sensor, an oxygen sensor that will shut a regular car off that just don't exist in an electric car. Now, the electric cars, obviously there's batteries, there's connections, there's other things that can go wrong, but there's still a battery and electrical connections and connectors and housings and stuff like that can go wrong in a regular car. But when you look at the actual mechanics of the engine itself, and how many bearings are in it, and how many little pieces of metal and brackets and like things that are so susceptible to collapse, failure.
Well, I don't know a lot about anything, to tell you the truth, but what I do know is that the internal combustion engine, there's actually combustion going on. There's little explosions, and that seems to be a system that is destined to break down for the explosions.
Well, when I took mechanics, my final thesis was on high performance tuning for fuel economy.
Okay.
So getting the most out of an explosion in an engine without actually stressing the engine to the point of failure is what every mechanic's dream is.
Yeah.
You want to build an engine that makes the most powerful explosion in the smallest space using the lightest materials with the greatest longevity.
Right.
That's what automakers are trying to do. And unfortunately, we keep buying cars that aren't high enough up that technology scale. We keep buying cars that are, good enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, true enough.
So we are moving in a better direction, but when you see things like, Toyota had the 4-liter engine in a lot of their vehicles. They had the 4Runner and the Tacomas all ran that 4-liter V6. The average lifespan of those vehicles is around 335,000 kilometers, 200,000 plus miles, something like that. Ridiculous numbers. But because of the EPA, they actually dropped that engine out of their vehicles, and they now put a 3.5 liter that's not quite as good or strong or lasts as long.
Was that because of emissions?
That was because of emissions, right?
Yeah.
Because it would take more engineering to retool the old engine than it would to configure the new engine. But if you look at what's going on with supercharging and turbocharging and fuel injection, and the way that if you have a V8 engine or a 6-cylinder, a V6 engine, you can shut down alternating cylinders, just basically not spray fuel in them through the injectors, so that you can run the engine in economy mode or cruise mode or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's good technology, but you're still carrying around the extra weight of that engine.
Yeah.
Right? The hybrids that use the electrical motor to assist the gasoline motor, which also charges the system.
Right.
They are a great way to do it. And of course, you get the economy of range out of them. So they are a good intermediate right now until we have better battery technology. And basically, if you could pull into a gas station and plug your car in and within 5 minutes fast charge your car, if they could run 10,000 volts into it for 3 minutes and charge it completely up, how many people would drive an electric car?
Well, I know I would my price point for a car is probably about $8,000 to tell you the truth. For you, it is. I'm not going to tell you. I could buy another Toyota Corolla, used with probably 80,000 miles on it or less for $8,000 in cash, and that would last me. I don't know how long this car has lasted me for. I had it before my divorce. I've been divorced for a number of years, so I got this car with about probably 30-something thousand miles. It's now got 260 on it, and it's I've had the car for about 10 years, probably, or close to 10 years.
Sorry, I just got to check the old work slips here real quick.
Sure, man.
So tell me more about this Corolla. What color is it? What's the weird smell in it?
Oh, well, I drive. I don't take care of things, Dave. I'm not a materialistic kind of person.
You're killing me this morning.
I don't take care of the car at all. I've decided that I'm gonna just drive the vehicle into the ground.
Yeah.
And the vehicle just seems to be fighting that as much as it can. There's some musty. The girlfriend will still go into the car. She hasn't said I can't go in there. She will go in there. My kids don't give me shit for driving it. Though I did call AAA one time because I needed help, and I'm on the phone and I tell the person what I'm driving, and they laughed at me. It's like, you're driving what? It's like, yes, you heard me correctly.
There's do you know what a Toyota Celica is?
I've seen Celicas.
Okay, so
I haven't seen them for a while. I mean,
in the 70s, they made a Celica ST and a Celica GT, and they were really cool cars back in the day. Like back in the days of the old Datsun 510s, the boxy little Datsuns that everybody used to mess around with because they had the independent suspension, so they were really cool and they cornered really well. Well, the Celicas were another car that people used to like to improve and have fun with. There's one on Craigslist in my area right now that has like only, I think it's around the same as John's vehicle, around 76,000 miles or 80,000 miles, which is super low for a 1970s car. The thing barely has any rust on it. The guy's asking $35,000 Canadian for it because they're coming back around and people want to buy them again.
That's funny, dude. That's funny. Yeah. But I don't think my Toyota Corolla is going to be coming around, and people aren't going to be saying, I really need this vintage vehicle.
Vintage, yes.
Vintage, yeah.
Vintage.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of classic cars, I was actually looking at a 1968 Ford Torino GT.
Oh, really?
Yesterday, but the guy doesn't know enough about it. I don't know if I'm going to go see it or not. He's asking premium dollars for it, and he doesn't know if the engine matches or the transmission is the factory one.
He's asking for premium dollars, and you only have sub-premium dollars.
He might have a turd on his hands, right? But I mean, a Torino GT convertible is still a pretty cool car.
Oh yeah, dude, they're nice.
Yeah,
they're pretty cool. So what's your living situation right now, Dave? Because I know that you were looking for a place. Are you?
I am holding off trying to relocate unless I find something that's amazing until I have some work training coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Big Andy to stop driving his Corolla.
You should, really.
No, Andy, I think you should start putting a camera in there when you're driving around and do driving in cars with Andy. And I bet you that stream will make more than $8,000 if you're in a 4-door Corolla.
Right. Yeah. You raise a good point, Dave. Just driving around. You know, it's like driving a biplane. Or I've never been in a biplane, but I imagine being in a biplane is somewhat like being in my car with all the sounds and the chaos there. Yeah.
You could do a segment called "What's That Smell?" and you just invite strangers into the car to give their opinion. Is that banana peel?
I just want to let you know they're all shame-based smells. So that might narrow your options on what you choose. But yeah, it's all the different aromas of shame in that car. That's what.
As long as you don't have an exhaust leak, just be very careful about the exhaust leaks.
Well, dude, I gotta tell you, right? So I was driving back from New York City. This is with my kids. This is before the pandemic, probably about 4 years ago. And I'm driving, and this is just out of the city. So I'm about to hit, a couple of minutes before hitting Connecticut, and I hear this, bam! This I can't even do it justice. This just like horrible sound, and then it was my exhaust, the pipe in the exhaust system underneath. Yeah, it basically rotted out. It basically just rotted out. So I had to hear it all the way back to Massachusetts.
Now, did it do a thunk and then get super loud?
Yeah.
And were you missing pieces when you got home?
Yeah. Yeah, it was all of that.
I think we've all done that once or twice in our lives.
Luckily, I know my mechanic is great, to tell you the truth. They do all kinds of strictly legal things to that car that make it strictly legal to drive. And one of the reasons why I would get rid of the car is if my mechanic ever shut down, because I don't think another mechanic would would be like, Andy, these aren't really parts that should be here as per the California exhaust. Yeah, I'm speaking to, I'm like narking on myself. That's what I am right now. I'm diming myself.
So what you're saying is when your exhaust fell off, there's a little thing under there called a resonator, and there's a little thing under there called a catalytic converter, and now you have a 2-inch pipe instead of those.
Well, I don't know the specifics, Dave.
It might be a 2 1/4-inch pipe.
I don't know the specifics. I know that I went to one shop and they looked at me like, this is going to cost X amount of money. And that's a large X, by the way. That was a capital X. And then I said, I'm going to bring it down to my guy. And then I brought it down to my guy, and he goes, this costs you X amount of money. And it was a much smaller X. And it's like, we'll do that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. Some of them are my friends, and I always tell them, get multiple quotes when you're dealing with a vehicle. Get one from a shop that somebody says, hey, my buddy John, or whatever, get one from them. Get one from the big guys. Maybe even get one from the dealership. But do your research, right? You might find out that somebody says, oh, it's not that at all. It's this sensor that needs to be replaced. Right. So
exactly. That is wise. And what I have appreciated, and I've said this before, is that as I've gotten older, is just, life hack number 73. is just bribing people. Well, not bribing people, but making people feel good about you. Whenever I go see my mechanic, there's always a box of donuts in my hand going, enjoy the donuts, share them, spread the wealth of donuts.
Take the ones you like the most and leave the rest for the other guys.
Exactly. Enjoy it. Yeah. And I try to keep a good relationship with the most important people in my life. My doctor, my mechanic, that one friend I have who's really handy that will tell me what to do when something's breaking around the house. Those people. And of course,
I almost wish I was closer, but I feel like we'd talk more.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah, we would be talking more.
I told you about the 3 weed eaters that I bought that were not running. And in one day I had all 3 of them running. I've sold 2 of them.
That's good, dude. Yeah. The most handy stuff I can do is replacing, I mentioned this before, replacing the bulb in my headlights. I got that down pretty good.
Some of those can be tricky.
They can be. Yeah, they can be. I have one time years ago, I did change the oil to my car myself and realized that was a pain in the ass, and I'm not going to do that again. It's one of those things like, I've done it. I did it. I understand it. And this is too big a pain in the ass for me to do on a regular basis.
I've been a little more aggressive with my car work.
Sure. Yeah.
But I have more experience in training and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. But you go to where your strengths are.
Yes, but that's the thing is like I had a 94 Prelude that I blew the motor out of, and I couldn't find just a motor and transmission to throw in it cheap enough. I ended up buying another complete car for less than it would cost me to have bought that motor.
Sure.
And I took all the best parts off the 2 cars and put them on 1 car.
I was going to say that makes sense.
And then I sold what was left of the other car for $500.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably didn't make any money off it, but you saved yourself a lot of money at the same time.
Well, I drove that car for another 3 years.
Oh, that's good.
It cost me very little to have. And I had a car that had like aftermarket wheels and a killer stereo and spoiler on the back and suspension kit and the whole thing, airbox kit. Like I had all the cool car parts on it, and it like to go out and buy that car in that condition would have cost me triple what I paid for that other car. Sure. Right? So
yeah, I can see that. I will say that I do have these moments that I think, wow, maybe I should get myself a real car, like an adult car, and that's usually when I'm in my girlfriend's car for any amount of time.
Yeah.
It's like, look at all these things that people can do. I can sync up my phone to the thing and do the thing with my phone on the car. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I know. I was looking at a 2015 Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah. And
it has like the backup cam, the integrated Bluetooth, the heated seats, the power seats, all the fun stuff in there, right? And still a 6-speed standard and 4-wheel drive, off-road, locking diff, the whole thing. So and electronic locking diff. So you don't have to get out in the mud to lock the wheels up or anything. You just do it, push a button on the dashboard. Good. So all the cool kid toys that come out on the new cars are actually very enticing. But again, those are all points of failure. Those are things that can break.
That's a good point. Yeah. My girlfriend and I have had conversations about this too. About the more stuff you have, the more stuff it could break down in the car. And I've mentioned I would rather have like the hand cranks on the on the windows. And then she said, Andy, didn't you tell me one time that one of those broke down on you? And I said, yeah, that's true. I think it was the VW, the Bug that I had. And it was an older car when I had it anyway. But yeah, I had to get a new window, whatever it is, turner thing that moved the window,
window regulator.
The window regulator had to be regulated. That's right.
I've replaced a bunch of those, and I've replaced the power ones. I've replaced power antennas, stuff like that. I have to admit, for the first 10 or 12 years that power windows were available, They were garbage. They weren't made to handle the weight of the window, and they weren't made to guide the window properly. And if a little bit of debris got in there and it got stuck, it messed the whole system up. And you had to lubricate them, and no one ever did.
Yeah.
Now they're using far better systems to do that with. So they break down a lot less than they used to.
There's no doubt about that. And just for me, and I think it's wise to be somewhat conservative when new technology comes on, right? And just see how it weights. Not talking about vaccines, everyone. No, not talking about vaccines, but something like a power window. Then,
vaccines aren't new technology. That's
right.
Yeah. But you're correct. When a car company comes out,
no, you can call Dave. It's the president.
It's not that call.
It's not that call.
No. It's not that call. When a car company comes out with a new car, they generally have like a new configuration of motor or motor and transmission combo or a drive system if they're coming out with a new four-wheel drive or a traction control system or something like that. And quite often, sorry, just checking.
Sure.
Quite often they need to shake the bugs out. So you'll see over the next 2 or 3 years, there'll be recalls. And then as soon as they start recalling a car, they've already started changing that part out at the factory because they won't. They'll change it out at the factory so that they stop the problem from happening. So that less people get on board with the class action or whatever they have to do. They'll change it at the factory and make the car better without telling anyone, right? So you'll see a lot of if you're like me and you get a car and then you read the mechanics updates for them from the shop service manuals, like for the actual Toyota guys, you'll see early models had this. And if you're going in to do the water pump, change this sensor because it's a point of failure and it's going to be under warranty or it is under warranty or it's, whatever. So when you're in there and you've pulled all this stuff off, do this at the same time, right? So sometimes you'll see that on like next brake job, change these springs out for the new springs, right? So
right. Interesting.
They do stuff like that all the time. So it is better to buy a second generation car for sure.
Black female atheist said, "You're right, Andy. It's good to be conservative on new tech. That's why I only get a new iPhone every 2 years instead of annually."
I got this in 1984.
Oh, really, Dave?
No. Almost. I have an old cell phone and it works really well. So yeah.
Well, I got my girlfriend's hand-me-down iPhone. That was one of the first things when she realized that she was going to date me, is that I would have to be put into the cult of Apple. And so I have an old iPhone, which works perfectly for me.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
Mine's older. I don't want to play the mine's older than yours game, but I think mine's even older and smaller.
Oh, I'm sure it is, Dave. I'm sure it is.
Oh, damn it. Tons of Mice is going to clip that. Yeah. That's good that you're getting, I mean, in my train of thought, I think it's great that you're getting that kind of use and mileage and longevity out of your vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
You should probably clean it a little bit more.
I should, Dave. You're right. Well, I have been actually over the last day or two.
Good. Very good.
It is cleaner. What's up, Clockwork Rex? So, it is definitely cleaner. And because when I bring it to my mechanic, I need to get an oil change. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. Is that when I bring it to my mechanic, not only do I make sure that the car is relatively clean and that they get a box of donuts. So, that's part of me keeping them and staying in their good books.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
How often do you do an oil change? Do you mind me asking, or is that personal?
Dude, I'm really bad about oil changes too, because I realize that Do
you go by mileage or do you go by season?
I go by the light, Dave.
Oh, Andy.
It's 263,000 miles, Dave, and I've been doing it for years. I go by the light.
So it has a small oil leak, is what you're saying?
All I'm saying is that by the time, what's up, Clockwork Rex? By the
Yeah.
time I probably averaged about, and this is not right. This is not right. I know that. I probably average about 6,000 miles.
6,000 miles between oil changes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Oh,
No, it's not, yeah.
All right.
Well, mine's got a little button on it, and I can push it, and it'll tell me what percentage of oil life I have left
Oh, that's
in
nice.
my truck. Yeah. I think I'm at about 50% now, so.
Okay, cool.
And how low do you get it? How low do you let it go before you actually change the oil?
Like fucking Andy, when the light comes on and it says you need to change your fucking oil.
When the light comes on.
It's like, yeah, mine comes on at about 15%. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I need an oil change. So.
And again, the little thing that detects how much viscosity is left in your oil is another point of failure. And if it goes out, that light doesn't come on.
Dave, I've thought of that too, brother.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot, but I'm not a complete fool. I think to the back of my head, I know approximately the time that I know when the light's going to come on. And I do live in fear of maybe that light isn't coming on right, isn't proper, or what happens if it burns out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had I have bought a car before where the ABS light on the dashboard was out. And the only reason I knew it was out is when you turn the key on, there's a certain number of blinks on the little engine thing. So it blinks a code to you. And you can actually plug in a detector into the system. And I bought the car and it said the ABS light was burnt out.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, that's interesting. So I replaced the light and then found out that the ABS wasn't working because the wiring harness under the driver's seat wasn't detecting weight in the driver's seat. The contact wasn't coming. So I pulled the clip out and just ran like an emery board, a little piece of sandpaper on a toothpick sort of thing over all the contacts, plugged it back in, and it worked fine. That would have cost $190 at a dealership just to have them look at it.
Oh, shit, yeah. Not to mention the replacement shit. Yeah, the contacts had got corroded, and you scrape the shit off and plug it back in, and good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Sounds so simple when you say it like that, guys. But I feel like they would find my charred body inside my car.
His smoking corpse.
Smoking corpse. That's what.
Like Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen in the first Star Wars, just laying there like a smoking skeleton. Yeah.
No, I don't think it would be that bad. I think you might have to do a few episodes of your show with your eyebrows burnt off, but
yes.
There's a channel called Vice Grip Garage, and the guy is a brilliant mechanic, but his shtick, his comedy and his timing is perfection. It's just excellent. And you see him when he goes out and he rescues these vehicles that other people have given up hope on. Tractors, snowmobiles, cars, whatever. And he pulls the oil stick out and he goes, 1030.
Nice. Nice.
Shit.
Nice.
Oh, shit. Yeah. No, I know a lot of people who change their oil too frequently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you first get your car, you want to change your oil between 500 and 1,000 right after your break-in period. You want to make sure that you clean. When you take the oil plug out, there's a little magnet on the oil plug. You want to clean that off and get all the little frayed bits of metal out of there and put some good oil in. I recommend whatever the manufacturer recommends for the highest quality synthetic oil, put that in, change it again in 5,000, right? And then after that, 10,000 is fine, depending on what you're doing with it. If you're driving in traffic down the highway, maybe 6,000, right? Yeah. If you're stuck in traffic with that engine running constantly, then you probably want to change it a little more frequently. But if you're just doing commuter driving back and forth to work, you sit in a little bit of traffic, maybe 5 or 10% of the time. The oil, if you're using good quality oil, there's no reason to change it at 5,000-6,000, right?
Right.
And with your car, you should specifically be using Castrol XGT old It's made for 4-cylinder engines that are over 100,000 kilometers.
So what you're telling me, Dave, is that I shouldn't just be walking into my mechanic and say, "Give me the cheap stuff," and then walk out.
Well, it depends how much you like your car, and what's the. I mean, if it was $500 for an oil change for the good stuff and $100 for an oil change without, I completely understand. There's a budget and there's math to work with there. But if it's $100 versus $122, get the good oil. Yeah. And I will tell you, when I used to go to the States, I used to buy my oil in the I don't know what they're actually measured at. I think they're 5 liters in Canadian, or 4.5 liters or something like. So they're a big, big jug, and they give you a free oil filter with them, a Wix oil filter, which Wix are really good oil filters. And it costs half what they cost in Canada. I have no idea why, but I used to buy.
What is this kilometer bullshit you're talking there, Dave?
Why haven't the police caught up with kilometer? They sound dangerous.
Yeah,
they do sound dangerous. Yeah. If the number gets high enough, they are dangerous. But no, I think they're more a gallon. I want to say a gallon jug and an oil filter, so you can do an oil change. But they're like the good oil that I was buying down at O'Reilly's Auto Parts in the States with a free oil filter, and it's a Wix oil filter. It's a good quality oil filter. They were only like $27.
Okay.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How can I can't buy just the oil up here for $45, right? Yeah. So
you've got that Monopoly money up there with the Queen's picture on it and shit.
Oh, it's lovely. And it's hard to tear. You can cut it. Yeah. It's got plastic fiber in it. Yeah. Like the British pounds. They're really hard to destroy.
Why would you need plastic in your dollar bills or in your pounds?
That's a really good question. Do you know how much money the United States spent on reprinting $1 bills in the last 25 years because they're so easy to destroy and write on and deface and tear in half, and like they destroy tons of $1 bills in the States. We now have loonies and toonies. Those coins have an average life of 22 years.
Nice.
And dollar bills definitely do not. So that's why we went to the plastic in the money, is so that the 5s, 10s, and 20s that get handled constantly by all the drug dealers, those get they last a lot longer.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I don't even carry cash with me on. I don't carry cash with me anymore. I don't even know the last time I had a significant amount, and significant means more than a couple of bucks of cash on me.
Well, I use plastic all the time too, my credit card. But I usually have about, between 30 and $50 just in case, just in case.
The last thing I paid cash for was a kiddie pool for my backyard, so I could float my floaty chair in it and drink mojitos in the backyard, because it's been
classy.
Do you have pictures of this, Dave? Do you have pictures of this? Wow, look at that.
Oh, nice.
Very swanked.
So it's lovely for floating around on a hot day and enjoying a beverage and getting slightly sunburnt.
Wait, Canada has its hot days? I did not know this. This is news to me.
We had 2 days of rain last week, and it was a good thing that we did, because we had over 350 forest fires burning just in British Columbia.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
The whole damn, in 2016, this is an interesting statistic that you don't hear about people blockading old growth forest anymore to prevent people from cutting it down. In 2016, we had a really bad forest fire season. In that 1 year of forest fires, we lost more trees than had been harvested from British Columbia in the previous 50 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, we have tried to come up with a plan to cut like 1 mile wide swaths through the forest around the most protected areas where the grizzly bears and all that live, just to create a separation so that when we do have a forest fire, we can stop it.
Yeah, it's like a moat.
But you can't get the forestry companies to do that. They just don't want to do forestry in straight lines. They want to do it in circles, right? Yeah.
Completely off topic. John Hudson says, "I bury cash out in the yard." John Hudson, I think you're telling us the truth with that. I think you're being truthful. I don't think you're pulling our legs.
Well, I mean, you just got to make a map to remember where you buried it at.
Well, you got to have a treasure map.
No, you just need a metal detector. Those things are made of tin. You'll find them.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
And as long as you leave the property to your kids, they'll get the inheritance.
It's buried in the yard somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't put it under the pool.
Dr. Blood Guy says, "I'm going to Hudson's house with a shovel." Smart. All right, I'm going to start closing down the show. It's about noontime. This is my last day at this particular job. I'm quite excited by this.
Congratulations, Andy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Good.
I'm not unhappy. I'm not unhappy. This has been a tough job, and I start my new job in a little bit over a week.
Oh, okay.
So that's a 9 to 5. For the first 2 weeks, it's going to be a 9 to 5 job. I don't know what I'm going to do about how to run the show. I might get up super early. I might just drop videos throughout, like uploaded videos, but I am not absolutely sure what to do for those 2 weeks. Next week, I'm on vacation with a girlfriend, and I will be able to actually, do the show then. But in 2 weeks, it's going to be, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
You'll get it worked out, I'm sure.
Is there a GoPro on your Amazon list so that we can see you driving this Corolla around Massachusetts?
I could put one on it, Dave, if you really want me to.
I think.
Oh, wait, it's a Toyota? Okay.
If you're going to start putting previously recorded content on there, I want to hear what's going through your head while you're driving a car.
All right. Well, it is pretty funny, to tell you the truth. And I do feel like I do my best material when I'm driving the cars, particularly with a girlfriend too.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The off moments are the best. Are when I do my best work.
Maybe I should just send you over I have a GoPro Hero 3. It's an older version, but maybe just put a couple of those up there and see if they catch on. See if they get any traction. We'll see if or you could just have the girlfriend hold a selfie stick behind you so we can see kind of the sides of your heads.
Right.
And the check engine soon light blinking.
Just kidding. All right, I really do have to go, lads. So everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Y'all take care.